I never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this, but here we are. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Emily, for about 8 years now. We met in college, got married right after I finished law school, and up until recently I thought we had a pretty good thing going. Not perfect, sure, but solid enough. We had our routines, our little inside jokes, and honestly I thought I knew her inside out. That was until about 3 weeks ago when everything started to fall apart. It all began subtly, little things that I brushed off at first. Emily suddenly became more irritable, snapping at me over minor things. She started staying late at work more often, claiming she had to finish reports or meet clients or some bullshit excuse. I'd ask her about her day and she'd brush me off, saying I was overthinking it. But I was. I felt like something was off. I remember one night, I came home early from work because I wasn't feeling great. I expected her to be in our apartment, maybe cooking dinner or watching TV, but instead, I found her phone lying on the coffee table. I didn't think much of it at first, just grabbed it to check the time. But as I glanced at the screen, I noticed a flurry of texts from a number I didn't recognize. The first few were innocuous, snippets about work, plans for next weekend, nothing out of the ordinary. But then I saw something that knocked the wind out of me. A message that said, asterisk, can't wait to see you again, babe. Last night was incredible. My stomach dropped. My mind spun. Who the hell was babe? I looked closer. The messages kept coming, more flirtatious, more intimate. It was clear she was having some sort of affair, and judging by the tone, it had been going on for a while. I felt a hot rush of anger, confusion, and betrayal all at once. Here I was, thinking we were solid, and she was out there sneaking around with some guy, probably a coworker or worse, someone she met at that stupid law conference she went to last month. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I kept digging. Her phone had more messages, hidden threads, deleted chats. I even saw a few pictures she had sent him, which I won't describe, but let's just say they were pretty explicit. I felt sick. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face for months? We had plans for the future, talked about buying a house, having kids. And meanwhile, she's out there getting her sex fix with some young, arrogant jerk. I knew I couldn't just ignore this. I had to confront her. But I didn't want to do it right away. I needed to think. I needed to come up with a plan because I knew she'd lie her way out of it. Emily's the kind of woman who's bitchy, manipulative, and always has an excuse ready. She'd spin some twisted story to make herself the victim, probably crying and saying I was insecure or paranoid. She's good at that, but I wasn't stupid. I knew I had the evidence now, and I wasn't about to let her get away with it. So I waited, watched her carefully over the next few days, gathering my thoughts. Every little thing she did, the way she avoided eye contact, the way she snapped at me when I asked about her weekend plans, became pieces of a puzzle I could unsee. I felt sick, honestly. It was like my whole world was crumbling and I didn't know how to fix it or if I even wanted to. I just knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. Not anymore. A week went by and I kept my cool, though inside I was anything but calm. I kept watching her, listening to her excuses, her fake smiles. She kept insisting everything was fine, that I was overreacting, that I was paranoid. Typical Emily. She's manipulative as hell and she loves to turn things around on me, make me doubt myself. But I had enough. I knew what I saw, what I'd uncovered, and there was no way I was going to pretend I didn't know. Finally, I decided I'd had enough of her bullshit. I couldn't take the lying anymore because every lie made me feel more like a fool. So one night I sat her down after dinner. I didn't want to do it in a heated way, but I knew I had to get it out there. I told her I knew about the messages, about her affair. Her face instantly twisted into this sneering, bitchy expression. She looked at me like I was crazy, like I was overreacting, and told me I was just imagining things, that I was jealous or insecure, but I didn't buy it. I kept showing her my phone, the screenshots, the texts, the pictures, everything I'd saved. Her eyes widened for a second, then she scoffed. "Oh, come on, Mike. You really think I'd cheat? That's ridiculous. You're so paranoid. You don't trust me at all." She crossed her arms, acting like I was some unreasonable psycho. It made my blood boil. How can she lie so easily? How can she deny what's right in front of her face? I asked her why she'd do this. Her response: "I was bored. Honestly, I didn't think it meant anything. It was just sex, Mike, just a dumb mistake. I didn't mean for you to find out. Yeah, right. Like I was supposed to believe that. She kept insisting I was overthinking, that she loved me, that she'd never do anything to hurt me. She threw in some tears, a few fake apologies, trying to make me feel guilty. I felt like I was talking to a wall. She was so good at BSing her way out of it, but I wasn't falling for it. I looked at her and realized something. I'd been blind for so long. I'd brushed aside the signs, trusted her because I loved her, because I thought that was what marriage was about. But now I saw her for what she really was, a bitchy, manipulative woman who thought she could get away with anything. And I was done being the fool. I told her I needed space, that I was taking a break from the marriage to think things over. She threw a fit, called me crazy, said I was overreacting, that I was the one pushing her away. But I didn't care anymore. I was just tired of her lies, her bullshit, and her constant manipulation. That night I slept on the couch for the first time in years. My mind kept racing, replaying everything I'd found out, every little lie she'd told. I felt betrayed, humiliated, angry, like I'd been punched in the gut. I couldn't believe I'd been so stupid to ignore all the signs, to think she was faithful all this time. I kept asking myself, how did it get to this? How did she think she could get away with it? And worse, how do I pick up the pieces now? The next few days were an absolute nightmare. I was stuck in this limbo between wanting to tear her apart and just breaking down myself. Every time I saw her, her bitchy smirk popped into my head. She was acting like she didn't give a damn, like she was the victim in all of this. But I knew better. I knew her game. She was trying to gaslight me, make me doubt everything, because that's what she's good at. I could just see her spinning stories, crying fake tears, trying to make me feel guilty. I decided I needed to go the next step. I started digging deeper, calling her friends, her coworkers, anyone who might have seen her during that weekend or knew about her plans. Turns out, she was lying about that conference. She'd gone, but she wasn't just attending some legal seminar. She was in a hotel with him. I got her on a confession. She admitted she'd flown out, met him at the bar, and spent the night doing who knows what. I felt like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer. The worst part, her trying to spin it again. When I confronted her with everything, she had the nerve to say, well, yeah, we hooked up, but it's not like I love him or anything. It was just sex, Mike. It's not a big deal. That's exactly her pattern: deny, lie, minimize. And then she threw in some more bullshit about how I was just jealous, that she's entitled to have fun sometimes. She's bitchy, rude, and she lies effortlessly. Honestly, I was furious. How dare she act like I'm the problem when she's the one cheating? That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the times I trusted her, all the promises she broke. I thought about the future we'd planned: kids, a house, a life, and how she's out there sneaking around with some guy she barely knows. I felt like I'd been played for a fool. The betrayal cut so deep it was like a physical pain. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so naive. How could she do this to me? How could she look me in the eye and lie so blatantly? And then, just as I was about to lose it completely, everything shifted. I remembered something I'd overheard at work, the way she was acting around her law mentor, Tom. They'd always had this weird, overly familiar vibe, but I never thought much of it. Now I connected the dots. I remembered the texts she'd hidden, the late nights she insisted were about work, and I realized that whole relationship had gone way beyond innocent mentoring. That's when I decided I was done waiting. I had enough evidence, enough hurt, enough of her lies. It was time for the confrontation I'd been dreading. That night, I sat down with her again. I knew I had to face her head on, because I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know the truth. I pulled out the phone, the damning messages, the pictures, everything I had uncovered. I looked her straight in the eyes and laid it out. How I knew about the affair, the hotel, the texts, the pictures. Her face twisted into that familiar sneer, and she started her usual bullshit. Denials, accusations, trying to make me question myself. But I wasn't having it anymore. I told her I had enough. I said I knew she'd been lying from the start, that she'd been cheating on me with Tom, her mentor, the guy she always acted so comfortable around, so friendly. She tried to spin it, saying, Mike, you're just jealous, you're insecure, Tom's just a friend, you're overreacting. That's her go-to: blame me, call me paranoid, but I didn't buy it. I saw the messages, the photos, the way they talked, like they were some secret couple. And her reactions, bitchy, dismissive, like she was annoyed I found out. I told her I was done with her lies, that I was planning to leave. That's when she started crying, real tears this time, but I knew they were fake. She said she never meant to hurt me, that it was just a mistake, that she'd never do it again. Yeah, sure. I've heard that before. I told her I wanted her to pack her shit and go, that I didn't want to see her face again for a long time. She begged, of course, saying I was overreacting, that I was making a mountain out of a molehill. That's her style, trying to minimize everything, make me feel like I was the crazy one. The next morning I woke up feeling numb but resolved. I packed her bags myself, told her she could leave any time, that I wasn't going to beg her to stay. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. Watching her storm out of the apartment, crying and calling me crazy, was one of the most satisfying moments of my life. She thought she had me fooled for years, but now I saw her true face. I realized that I had to move on. I deserved better. I didn't want to be with a woman who could lie so effortlessly and betray everything we built. That entire night, I kept thinking about how much I trusted her, how much I loved her, and how she repaid that trust with lies and sex with another man. I felt crushed, humiliated, and furious all at once. But I also felt a strange sense of relief. Finally, I saw her for what she was, and I knew I had to walk away. I guess the hardest part now is figuring out how to rebuild myself from this mess, but I know I won't ever forget what she did. I just hope anyone reading this learns from my mistake. Don't ignore the signs. Don't dismiss your gut feelings, and never trust someone who keeps lying to your face. After she left, I was left with a hollow feeling inside. The apartment felt empty, colder somehow. For the first few days, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying everything: the sneaky texts, the pictures, her smirks, her lies. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind to her manipulations. It's like I was stuck in this fog of betrayal, and waking up from it hurt more than I thought possible. I reached out to a few friends, people I trusted, and told them what happened. Some of them said I was better off without her, that she didn't deserve me. Others told me I should try to fight for the marriage, that maybe she was genuinely sorry. But honestly, I felt nothing but anger and a deep sense of loss. How could someone I loved so much do this to me? How could she lie so easily, turn everything into some twisted game? It's like I was just some pawn in her little manipulative drama. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that her bitchy attitude, her constant lies, her dismissiveness, they all pointed to a woman who never truly cared about us. She was only interested in her own needs, her own sex, her own satisfaction. That's what hurts the most. I was a fool for giving her so much of myself, for thinking she was worth it. Now all I had left was the bitter taste of betrayal and the long road of recovery. I decided I needed to cut her out of my life completely. No contact, no more excuses. I took down all the photos of us, boxed up her stuff. Some of it I threw away, some I kept just to remind myself of this lesson. I started going to the gym, trying to regain some sense of normalcy. Every day was a struggle, but slowly I felt myself getting a little stronger. It's not about forgetting, it's about accepting what's happened and moving on. One thing I learned from this is that you can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. Emily never truly loved me. She loved the idea of being with me maybe, but not me. She's manipulative, bitchy, and she's proven she'll lie and cheat without remorse. I realize now I wasted too much time trying to fix a broken thing. I should have seen the signs earlier, but I was too blind to notice how little respect she had for me. So here I am, still hurting, still angry, but also starting to rebuild. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm determined to get past this. My advice to anyone reading this: trust your instincts. Never ignore the signs. If someone's lying and hiding things, they're probably hiding something worse. And never stay somewhere just because you're scared of being alone. Because being alone might just be better than being with someone who's not worth it. I've learned that the hard way. Now I have to figure out how to pick up the pieces and find myself again. It's been a few weeks since I kicked Emily out, and honestly, I'm still trying to piece everything together. Some days are better than others. I catch myself thinking about her, about what could have been, And then I remember the lies, the cheating, her bitchy attitude when I confronted her. That quick reminder keeps me grounded. It's like a slap in the face every time I start to romanticize the past. That's part of healing. I've started seeing a counselor, trying to understand how I got here and how I can move past it. The truth is, betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you a lot about yourself. I've realized I was too trusting, too quick to forgive, and that I often ignored the warning signs because I wanted things to work. But now I see clearly. Trust isn't something you give blindly, it's something you build and protect. Looking back, I wish I had been more cautious, more aware of her bitchy manipulations. I see how she loved to lie, to twist stories to her advantage. That's her pattern. She's good at making herself look innocent no matter what she's done. But I refuse to be the fool anymore. I'm done with trying to fix what's broken because some people just don't want to change. They prefer to lie, manipulate, and cheat. What I do know is that I am stronger than I thought. I'm not the same guy I was a month ago, more cautious, more wary, but also more capable of recognizing red flags. I don't want to be with someone who manipulates my feelings and disrespects me. I want real trust, real honesty, and someone who respects me enough not to cheat and lie. So this is my lesson. If you're reading this and you're going through something similar, trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs. And if you find yourself falling into the trap of denial, remember that you deserve better. You deserve honesty, respect, and someone who truly cares. Because no matter how much you love someone, if they're lying and cheating, it's better to cut your losses early than to stay and get hurt even more. I'm moving on now, trying to rebuild myself. And honestly, I feel a little freer than I have in years. Maybe one day I'll find someone who values me the way I deserve. Until then, I'll keep healing, keep learning, and keep reminding myself that I am enough, all on my own.